The Young and the Restless spoilers YNR Daily Scoop. Damien discovers what Lily truly desires in the hushed ambience of an overcast afternoon, when the city's relentless pace softened just enough for private conversations to emerge. Damien and Lily found themselves on a secluded bench in the local park. The scene was set for revelations and secrets to be unveiled. As the leaves rustled gently around them and the urban din faded into a distant murmur, the two embarked on a dialogue that would redefine their understanding of ambition, opportunity, and personal destiny. A private pact before anything else, Damien established an unspoken rule. Leaning in slightly, he said, "This conversation is just between the two of us, okay?" Lily, with a hint of both curiosity and caution in her eyes, nodded in agreement. However, she added a condition: she wanted absolute privacy, a promise that their words would remain confined to this moment and this place. Damien, ever the architect of his own narrative, smiled and suggested they continue their conversation somewhere a bit more private, a quiet corner of the park where the solitude of nature would serve as the perfect backdrop. The enigma of Aristotle Dumas once ensconced within the tranquility of the park's shaded enclave, Damien dove straight into the heart of a mystery that had captivated both his mind and the interest of those around him. Aristotle Dumas doesn't exist, he declared with a certainty that immediately piqued Lily's curiosity. Lily's brows furrowed as she pressed, "Then what is your real name? Who are you really?" Damien's eyes twinkled with a mix of mischief and guarded sincerity as he replied, "I've never even met a man by that name." His words, delivered in a low yet resonant tone, were laced with enigma. Perplexed yet undeterred, Lily asked, "How did you even come into his radar then?" With a measured pause, Damien explained that it wasn't she who had sought him out, rather, it was Dumas who had inadvertently crossed his path. "Dumas caught my attention long before I knew his name," Damien continued. "I reached out through some mutual contacts over in Los Angeles. I made a few calls, and before I knew it, I was entrusted with the leadership of his business empire." When opportunity knocks, Damien's narrative seamlessly shifted to a reflection on seizing the moment. "When an opportunity like that lands in your lap," he remarked, "why hesitate or question it?" His voice carried a tinge of both defiance and humor as he added with a conspiratorial chuckle, "But, if he turned out to be the devil in disguise, I'd have been ready to jump at the chance anyway." Lily, both intrigued and slightly amused, probed further, "But why would Dumas want to be shrouded in mystery? Why remain an enigma?" Without missing a beat, Damien replied, "I don't know, and frankly, I don't care." This response, blunt yet liberating, underscored his approach to life. Opportunities should be grasped for what they are, not questioned endlessly. Echoes of a haunting past. As the conversation deepened, a subtle shift occurred in Damien's tone. The playful banter gave way to a somber recollection, and he confessed a piece of his past that had long been veiled in pain and perseverance. "After my father passed away," he began, his voice softening as if the weight of his grief was almost tangible in the cool air, "I was like a runaway train, unpredictable, out of control, and desperate to fill the void he left behind. Yet, amidst the swirling memories of loss and regret, a determined spark shone through. I decided, no matter how hard it might be, I had to make him proud. I couldn't let his legacy be defined by despair." His eyes, fixed on a distant horizon, conveyed the struggles he'd overcome and the battles fought in silence. "It wasn't easy, but here I am, I made it," he added with a sense of hard-earned pride. "And that's something, isn't it?" A connection beyond words. Lily listened intently, her admiration for Damien growing with every word he spoke. His raw honesty about his past, his unfiltered views on the convoluted nature of opportunity, and his refusal to be ensnared by the superficial trappings of mystery resonated deeply with her. "I truly appreciate your openness, Damien," she remarked softly, her voice tinged with gratitude and respect. In that moment, amidst the whispering trees and the soft glow of the setting sun, an unspoken bond was forged, a mutual understanding that sometimes, the most compelling stories are written by those brave enough to share their truth. Yet, just as the conversation reached a serene plateau, Damien's demeanor shifted. His eyes, gleaming with both anticipation and an uncharacteristic vulnerability, locked onto Lily's. "I have a question for you," he said, his tone gentle but insistent. The question hung in the air, laden with the promise of further revelations and the potential to alter the course of their intertwined lives. The weight of decisions and the promise of tomorrow in the quiet that followed, the park seemed to hold its breath, waiting for Lily's response. The conversation had evolved from a simple exchange of words to an intricate dance of trust, ambition, and shared vulnerability. Both Damien and Lily stood at a crossroads, one path paved with the mystery of powerful names and hidden pasts, the other illuminated by the promise of authentic connection and mutual support. For Damien, every opportunity, whether shadowed by mystery or illuminated by the clear light of honest ambition, was a testament to a life lived boldly. For Lily, understanding the layers behind the enigmatic Damien was an invitation to confront her own desires and aspirations, a realization that sometimes, behind every mask and every guarded secret, there lies an untold story yearning to be acknowledged. As the conversation slowly drew to a close, with the evening sky transitioning from brilliant blues to the soft hues of twilight, both felt the weight of the moment. The park, with its ancient trees and quiet paths, bore silent witness to their exchange, a moment in time where the boundaries between mystery and truth blurred, and the heart's true desires were laid bare. In the end, the dialogue between Damien and Lily was more than just an exchange of secrets. It was a declaration of the human spirit's relentless pursuit of authenticity. It reminded them both that every encounter, no matter how shrouded in enigma or tainted by past sorrows, carried within it the potential for new beginnings. And as they parted ways that evening, each carried a renewed sense of purpose, a belief that life's opportunities, whether presented in the guise of mystery or straightforward ambition, should be embraced wholeheartedly. Reflections on the journey ahead. Damien's reflections on his unconventional path, one that led him from the depths of personal loss to the pinnacle of professional triumph, served as a poignant reminder that every hardship can be transformed into a stepping stone. His willingness to confront the painful echoes of his father's passing and to share the scars of his journey with Lily was an act of courage that resonated far beyond the boundaries of their private conversation. For Lily, listening to Damien was like watching a master storyteller unveil the chapters of a novel that was as unpredictable as it was captivating. His tales of seizing opportunities, of navigating the murky waters of ambition, and of transforming personal tragedy into triumph, inspired her to reflect on her own life choices. It was a call to action, a reminder that sometimes, the most profound insights come not from meticulously planned paths but from the spontaneous, sometimes chaotic, intersections of fate and human will. The night deepened, and as the park emptied and the shadows grew longer, both knew that this conversation was merely the beginning. Damien's parting question lingered in the cool air, a challenge to embrace the unknown and to trust that every secret, every opportunity, every encounter held the promise of transformation. And in that moment, the park, with all its quiet wisdom, seemed to affirm that life's most profound truths are often whispered in the spaces between words, where silence meets sincerity, and where vulnerability gives way to strength. Thus, as the city's lights began to twinkle in the distance and the last vestiges of daylight faded, Damien and Lily walked away with a deeper understanding of not only each other but also of the intricate tapestry of chance, destiny, and the eternal quest for meaning. Their story, like many others chronicled on YNR Daily Scoop, was a vivid reminder that beneath every mystery lies a narrative waiting to be discovered, a narrative that is as compelling and unpredictable as life itself. In the end, whether it's the enigmatic figure of Aristotle Dumas or the resilient spirit of a man determined to honor his father's legacy, the truth remains: opportunities are fleeting, secrets are powerful, and every moment is a chance to rewrite your destiny. And for Damien and Lily, that night in the park was a moment of reckoning, a time when the past, present, and future converged, leaving them both with a renewed sense of purpose and a shared commitment to embrace whatever the unknown may bring. A farewell wish and a new pursuit as the late afternoon light waned, casting long shadows across the park's winding paths. Damien and Holden prepared to part ways. Damien paused at the edge of their meeting spot, glancing back at his friend with a rueful smile. "I hope you'll have better luck than I did holding on to Audra," he said quietly, his tone half joking, half sincere. She slipped away from me. Holden raised an eyebrow. Should I worry that I'm chasing the same storm? He asked, folding his arms. Damien shook his head. Not at all. I wish you and Audra all the best. He clapped Holden on the shoulder before turning and disappearing into the gathering dusk. An unexpected call moments later, Holden's phone buzzed insistently in his pocket. He glanced down to see Nate's name flashing on the screen. Hey, man, Holden answered. What's up? On the other end, Nate's girlfriend's voice sounded urgent. Nate, come home now. There's a surprise waiting for you. Holden chuckled, ending the call. He looked around the empty park bench. Sounds like someone's cooking up something special, he mused to himself before heading off toward the parking lot. Devon's teasing interlude. No sooner had Holden started down the path than Devon Chancellor emerged from behind a cluster of birch trees, hands in his pockets and a smirk on his face. Why are you and Damien still hanging around Genoa City? Devon asked, his tone light but probing. Holden shrugged. Damien's here for his mother. Family obligations and all that. Devon nodded, then arched an eyebrow. I suppose your friend might be off playing house with his sister right now, he teased. Holden laughed. Knowing Damien, he wouldn't hesitate if that were the case. He's never shy about going after what he wants. Devon's smirk deepened. I won't rule it out, he said. But I will say this, Lily's not exactly his biggest fan. Holden grinned. That's true. But Damien doesn't mind. He knows what he wants and goes for it. With that, the two men parted ways, Devon back toward the Chancellor Mansion, and Holden toward Nate's house, where a different kind of drama awaited. Homecoming, Audra's surprise when Nate finally pulled into his driveway. The late evening sky had deepened into indigo. He stepped inside, expecting the usual quiet of his apartment, but instead, the warm glow of candles and the soft strains of a jazz ballad greeted him. In the kitchen, Audra stood behind a small table set for two. A modest feast of roasted vegetables and grilled salmon was arranged neatly on white plates. Beside the table, a silver bucket cradled a chilled bottle of champagne and ice. The scent of fresh herbs and butter filled the air. Hey, you, Nate said, closing the door behind him. He paused, taking in the scene. What's the occasion? Audra turned, her cheeks flushed with excitement. She poured 2 flutes of champagne and handed one to Nate. It's Tuesday, she said with a playful smile. And I wanted to do something special for you. Nate raised his glass. To Tuesday nights, then. They clinked glasses, and Nate took a sip. The crisp bubbles tickled his nose. He looked at Audra, his brow furrowed in genuine curiosity. You've been smiling all day, he observed. What's going on? Audra took a deep breath, her eyes shining with a mix of relief and pride. I have a confession, she began, setting her glass down gently. Tonight is about you, but it's also about something big and exciting. Nate leaned forward, attentive. What is it? Audra's lips curved into a triumphant grin. I finally got the job. Nate's face lit up. That's amazing, he exclaimed, pulling her into a quick hug. I'm so proud of you. She nestled against him for a moment, then pulled back to look into his eyes. I started losing confidence, she admitted softly. It felt like doors kept closing. Nate's expression turned protective. Who hired you? What's the position? Audra hesitated, biting her lower lip. She looked down at her hands, then back up at him. I can't tell you yet, she whispered, almost conspiratorially. But I promise it's going to be huge. Before Nate could press further, Audra extended her hand. Dance with me? A slow jazz tune began to play from the speakers. Nate took her hand and guided her into the center of the room. As they swayed gently to the music, the flickering candlelight cast dancing shadows on the walls. In that moment, all uncertainty melted away. Nate wrapped his arms around Audra's waist, and she rested her head on his shoulder. The world outside, the park, the secrets, the machinations of Genoa City, faded into the background. Here, in the warmth of their home, the promise of new beginnings and shared dreams took center stage. Audra's surprise had not only been a testament to her perseverance but also a declaration of the trust and intimacy they shared. Looking ahead as the night deepened, Nate and Audra remained entwined in each other's arms, dancing slowly under the soft glow of candlelight. Beyond the walls of their apartment, the city pulsed with intrigue, Damien's enigmatic alliances, Lily's evolving desires, and Devon's ever-watchful presence all converged in a tapestry of ambition and emotion. But for now, Nate and Audra had carved out their own sanctuary, a place where surprises were greeted with joy, confessions were met with understanding, and every Tuesday night could become an occasion worth celebrating. In Genoa City, the game of secrets and power never truly ends. Yet amidst the shifting alliances and whispered conspiracies, moments of genuine connection still shine brightest, reminding us all that, sometimes, the greatest triumphs are those of the heart.